This episode of the Local Hustlers podcast is brought to you by Desert Financial. More than ever, it's important to stay local, shop local, and eat local. You also help your community by choosing to bank local with Desert Financial Credit Union. Desert Financial offers personal and small business products and services in your neighborhood and gives back to the community by performing random acts of kindness. Partner with a credit union that believes in sharing success with you. Visit desertfinancial.com to open an account today.
You're listening to the Local Hustlers Podcast, East Valley Locals. Get connected with small businesses near you and dive deep into their stories, mindset, and motives. Entrepreneurs everywhere. Get ready to be inspired by business owners, entrepreneurs, and hustlers that you can relate to and learn from. And now, your hosts, Dallin Huso and Ridge Waldberg.
All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Local Hustlers podcast. This week, we are super excited to be here with April Gould and Sarah Williams. And so I just need to do a quick introduction for them because they've got a pretty impressive resume, and I know I just couldn't do it justice. So just going off what you guys told me, we have April here, who's a retired professional water skier, a two-time competitor for American Ninja Warrior, a wife and a mother of 38 kids, 35 of those which are goats. And then we have Sarah, who's been a certified yoga instructor for 20 years. She's also a former American Ninja Warrior competitor, a paddleboard yoga teacher, and the wife and mother of 4 kids. And I'm assuming those are all humans, right?
Yes.
No goats.
No goats in my house. I get enough at April's house.
Yeah.
I used to say I wanted a goat so bad, and now it's just great to visit the goats.
Yeah. Okay. And I don't even think I mentioned it, but you guys are the owners of Goat Yoga. So that is what we're here to talk about today. I know there's a lot to unravel there. But before we get into that, why don't each of you just take a couple minutes, tell us a bit about your background, your past, what led you to come up with this idea. So everything before Goat Yoga, like things in your life that led up to that moment.
Okay, well, like you said, I was on American Ninja Warrior, and part of my training, because you kind of have to have a stick also to get on the show, let's be honest, was I was training with my goats, right? I'd put them on my shoulders and do push-ups and squats with them, and that essentially is what got me on the show. And they, from there, called me the Goat Whisperer, and they featured me and all of that with my training with my goats. And after the show, Sarah was doing yoga and straight.
I was teaching paddleboard yoga, and I have a paddleboard business, Desert Paddleboards, and no one in Arizona goes paddleboarding when it's under 90 degrees except for Canadians. And so I'm like, I gotta come up with a winter gig. And April was the Goat Whisperer of Gilbert, and I'm like, April, your goats are kind of famous already. Let's do goat yoga.
Yeah, it just seemed like a no-brainer.
That's crazy. And so just like that, you guys came up with that idea.
That's
but
right.
then we had to make it famous.
Right.
So that's the whole podcast.
It picked up pretty quick,
Yes.
though. It was just weird enough, you know.
So I just want to go back to American Ninja Warrior, just out of curiosity. Like, what was the process of training for that, getting on the show, and then actually being on the competition?
Oh, it's a lot of work. It's a full-time gig. Just constantly in the gym. Like, if it was just one, going to the ninja gym, to the rock gym, to the typical workout gym, just every day, hours on end. And it's exhausting, it's a big deal training for it.
So my thing for American Ninja Warrior is I went and tried out for Bear Grylls, and they said, you don't really fit for Bear Grylls. We got called back on it. They're like, but maybe you would be better for American Ninja Warrior. So I was teaching these kids parkour classes. I was a CrossFit trainer, and I was trying to come up with something more fun for kids. And so I was teaching kids parkour. I was having 300 or 400 kids every summer just go through this program at the CrossFit gym. And they're like, a mom teaching parkour, that would be good on American Ninja Warrior. So the parkour base helped me with the Ninja Warrior part. And the 4 kids and being a mom.
We actually took her parkour class. Actually, while I was also training for the Ninja Warrior, I was taking Sarah's parkour class.
It was just a fun way to make CrossFit
so
more fun.
Yeah, she's amazing.
So it's hard to sell 12-years-olds on CrossFit because it's kind of repetitive, but here's a quick workout so you can be better at parkour.
Yeah. So it sounds like you have a lot of entrepreneurship history in your past with different things you've done before Goat Yoga.
Oh yeah, we try all kinds of things.
Yeah.
I started out as a swim lesson teacher. I did that for probably 15 years and 8 hours a day of teaching swim lessons. I coached synchronized swimming for a long time for Desert Dolphins, still out here in East Mesa. And then I transferred over to the CrossFit realm, and I realized I did a lot better with kids. So this whole theme is kids, if you get this, okay? So I was doing all these parkour classes, and then when things slow down in the winter because kids are back at school, I'm like, what's going to be next? And goat yoga was totally a joke. Like, we're like, let's just see if it works.
That's so funny. And then Sarah, you did you have any history with owning a business or any interest in entrepreneurship before you guys came together for this?
Well, not as much as Sarah, but I had done a lot of different things. I was a real estate broker.
Okay.
I'm a dental hygienist. Things like that.
Yeah.
I have
She's got a couple real jobs.
Yes. This is my real job.
Yeah, those are side jobs now. The hygiene and the real estate. Goat yoga's a real thing.
Yeah, those are side jobs. This is my real job now. But Sarah's definitely like the out of the box thinker as far as that goes.
That's cool.
Every month I'm like, what's next, April?
And where did your love for goats come from? Did you grow up with goats, or is that something as you got older?
She's just a weird goat lady, but you gotta hear the whole story.
I don't know. It fell into my lap. I actually grew up never having a pet or anything.
Really?
Not really even liking them that much.
And she only has goats. She's added like a couple more animals, but for 15 years it was only goats because the poops doesn't stink and it's easier to clean up.
Yeah, little tiny pellets, So my husband moved out here. He bought a house without me knowing, and so we just moved out here in the middle of nowhere in Gilbert.
15 years ago.
15 years ago.
That house is worth a lot now.
Yeah, and we had some land, and I'm like, what are we going to do? He's like, we'll buy some goats. And I was like, who did I marry? But that just completely changed our lives, like literally, because I just learned to love the goats, and then we got alpacas, and we have a little baby deer that's so cute. But
she was like in the middle of nowhere. Her kids didn't have any friends, and so she's like, the goats are going to be your friends. And if you meet her daughter Summer, she's like the most epitome of goat whisperer. She has a YouTube channel on how to castrate goats. Mm-hmm. All of the goats are married.
Really?
She can make goat noises. She was just on Nickelodeon, and she won with the goats doing this whole routine.
Oh,
it was really
no way.
Yeah. So I think Summer's like the queen goat lady.
Yeah.
So April's whole plan to have the goats be their friends, it totally worked for Summer.
It did. It really did.
So initially the goats weren't a business. It was just, we've
No.
got land and we need help mowing the grass, and the goats can
Exactly.
cut the grass for us. And
I think that's
Recycle.
helped us because a lot of other businesses have tried to copy us, be inspired by us, and and they go and rent petting zoo goats, and then they hire a yoga teacher. So they try to make it more of a business, but everyone knows that April's had goats forever. So it's like she loves these goats so much, and they're different than petting zoo goats would be. They're not skittish, like they just sit in people's laps because Summer reads them books every night. Like they're just very well loved goats.
They are our beloved pets. So they are very different from any other goats you'll ever see.
And those are the goats you use, right, for the goat yoga?
Oh, yes. Those are all
She's gotten up to 70 goats before, but then her husband calls her a goat hoarder, so she's got to keep it around 30.
He had to cut me off.
They reproduce quickly.
Good business.
They all have one dad, though, Jack. And that's all he does.
He's very busy.
Really?
Yeah, he's actually pimped out at the neighbors right now.
Yeah.
Is there a favorite goat, or...
I think every time
I
there's
shouldn't have
new
any
babies.
favorites, but my favorite is Marshmallow.
Well, Marshmallow's the one that does so good on Nickelodeon.
Yes.
Like walking on a barrel and like all kinds of cool stuff.
I know.
It's a December 3rd episode on Nickelodeon Unleashed.
Yeah.
And you can see the goats be so talented.
Okay, well, is that out already?
Yeah,
Is that
you can watch it on the app.
Okay. I'll have to go check that out.
That's pretty funny.
It's hilarious. We thought they would edit it to make it look more organized, but they didn't really.
Yeah. Hey, we had tough competition in that talent show.
So it was up against Judy Garland's parrot and a dog that rode a motorcycle.
Yeah.
Really?
And then us. And
And
we
so
won!
What was the goat doing? Like,
It was
what was it not doing?
goat fitness.
so you were doing like...
Yeah, so they get there, not goat yoga, they made it goat fitness.
Okay.
They get there and they have all these backup dancers in 80s attire. And they said, we want the goats to come out on the first count and the third count. And they have this whole routine choreographed. And then when they have alpacas with headbands on and 80s t-shirts. And so the ladies start dancing and all the goats just come out. And the alpacas are just staring in the mirror. And then the goats start pooping. And there's like 2 goats doing what they're supposed to be doing. And then the dancers keep dancing.
We're just like dancing around it. It was total chaos. But let's remember, they called us.
Yes.
Okay? It wasn't like we tried out.
It's kind of fun that we've done enough TV shows that Nickelodeon actually called us. Like, we didn't have to apply. Normally, we apply for shows all the time.
Really?
Because that kind of is what keeps Goat Yoga going, is that we get on different reality shows. You know? we're both on this BYU survivalist this last year.
That's
both of our families. And tortured our family in the wilderness.
It's hilarious.
Do you guys have connections to get on all these shows, or are you just always writing in and trying to apply for them?
Well, I think it started with Ninja Warrior.
Right.
And then when they find out you're on Ninja Warrior, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But then Amazing Race was a big one.
Okay.
So, like, when we applied for this survivalist show, the interview process was pretty short because they're like, okay, CBS already cleared you, so you must be pretty good, you know? So we've noticed it's been a lot easier since Amazing Race. But you can only do one reality show a year because you can't look like a reality show junkie. And so
we've done one once a year.
Yeah, we realized, like, we're real people, we're not actors. So we try to apply for, like, the real people things.
Yeah.
Because to compete with the acting realm is just, like, we're not there. We don't have the training or anything.
Yeah.
We just go on improv, you know.
We're running out of shows, though. You know, we're not single.
We got America's Worst Chef. We got a bunch.
You found some more? Okay, all right.
Hey, you can create your own. Anybody who can create goat yoga can create anything.
That's right. We need to do it. YouTube something.
So when you get on these shows, are you doing it as like the goat yoga owners, or is it just more of like an entertainment thing for you guys?
April's been on more for the goat stuff, and then I'm more like adventure kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, Amazing Race, we were team goat yoga.
Yeah, right.
It was the best in your field, literally, because we have a field, you know. And then we're probably the third least famous, for sure.
That was the highest competitive Amazing Race that they'd ever had. That was from Phil, not from...
Normally they have, like, regular
Phil
people
said
go
that.
on, but they had a lot of, like, that Cedric Sabalas and Sean Marion, and
Really?
they had the X Games ladies. We were the oldest, besides Cedric Sabalas. So that was pretty fun, and the casting for that was a lot longer. Like, they flew us out to LA, and they said, okay, we're going to watch you guys for a week. You can't talk to anybody else, and we're just going to see how you act. And so we were super weird. Like, that's the key to get on reality shows. Everybody comes up to us, they're like, I've been wanting to get on Amazing Race. I'm super adventurous. I'm like, that's not what it is.
Yeah.
It's about being weird.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
How did you figure that out?
Well, that's how we got American
That's how
Ninja
we are.
Warrior. I was this parkour mom, you know, they wanted something weird. And then April's a goat whisperer. Like, they totally, like, played it up when she was on there. She brought her goats, and, like, people want something to be entertaining.
Right, right.
Yeah, when it comes down to it, it's the entertainment, you know, not necessarily the talent.
And, like, we fought a lot on Amazing Race, which actually gave us a lot of publicity because a lot of the other people got along really well.
You fought with each other.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Because they were like, so it made tons of social media stuff. The goat yogis are fighting a lot. And it was all in the editing, you know? And so we're like, it's not like we're doctors. Like, it's not going to ruin our reputation that we fought on Amazing Race. Everything we do, we're like, are we going to look stupid? Whatever, we teach goat yoga.
It doesn't matter. I think that's the thing, too, is we're never worried about looking stupid.
Right.
Or anything. Like, there's no such thing as a dumb idea, really. So.
And men are funny. Men will come to class and they'll be like, kind of making fun of us and like, this is so dumb, and I can't believe my wife dragged me here. And then we tell them how much money we were making, and then they're like, all right, you guys are genius.
Oh, in the beginning, we were so dumb. And then now people are like, you're a genius. You started this all? We're like, yes, we did.
Yeah.
The ranch that we do classes at, the cowboys rent out the arena, and they have goats that they rope. And so they come over, and they're like, I can't believe people are paying me for this. And everybody's like, I can't believe how mean you are to the goats. Because they're roping goats, and then we're doing yoga with goats.
And we're dressing them up in fairy costumes.
Yeah, we definitely have a different clientele.
For sure.
City folk.
Well, let's go back to you guys starting this. So you guys came up with this idea for goat yoga. What was the reception at first? Like, was everyone like, "Oh, goat yoga! Like, let's go to this"?
Oh,
or
no,
like,
not at all.
Oh,
what is this?
So it was super funny. We're like, let's do goat yoga. Totally a joke. And we put it on Facebook, and we get like 10 of our friends to come.
Yeah.
And
we just were trying to make a video.
Yeah.
We weren't really thinking of it as a real
This
class.
wasn't a business
No.
necessarily.
Oh, no.
It's just,
We didn't plan anything.
We're just goofing.
It was just funny.
Yeah. So we do this video, and we put it on Facebook and Instagram, and then our friends think it's dumb, whatever. But the news stations start picking it up. So I think it started out pretty good.
Oh, like that week.
The first year we were on USA Today, like every local news station.
Oh, we've been on every channel, every radio.
So it was really easy that first year to get news stations in because they wanted something different. But the news stations didn't want to feature the same thing, so we would just change up the theme. Like, we got on the list for goat boot camps, and what else was it? Goat meditation and goat parties or something like that, because they have to have 3 things on the list. And so whatever they wanted, we gave them. We're like, okay, we can do something different with goats, whatever.
Yeah.
And so that, I think, was the key, was getting all that publicity up front.
Yeah.
Then we didn't have to do any advertising or anything.
Especially just winging it was really fun because taking us back to the beginning, people saw it was so weird. Then Channel 10 called us and was like, "Oh, we see that you do goat yoga classes. When's your next class?" And Sarah and I just looked at each other and we're like,
when do you want it to be?
want?
"Oh, Saturday. Yes, we have a class Saturday." We're calling our friends like, "Please come back. Please
act like you've
free
been
classes." And then the next Channel 3 called and we're like, "Oh, we have a class Wednesday." And,
We started out with
just, like,
Eventbrite,
yeah.
we didn't tell anybody no. So we have Eventbrite, people are bringing stuff in, we're like trying to split up the money after class. And then it probably took us 3 or 4 months to get apparel. But we usually, when things were a little bit better, we would sell about $400 in shirts every class. And it's been the same shirt, this shirt, for 4 years.
Really?
I love
And
it.
it's just like, I love New York, but I love goat yoga.
We've actually changed a few things, but people always come
This
back
is
to
always
the
like the
original,
number one
so
shirt.
we're like, why change it? Yeah, it's a pretty neat story because after a while, Sarah and I were like, maybe we should actually make this like a real thing.
Yeah, it probably
Right.
took us like 6 months
6
to like
months?
legitimately get the LLC. We were using my Desert Paddleboards LLC for a while.
Yeah.
And then, and we were doing it at April's house. So just like on your Saw and Steel guy, neighbors didn't like that. She's on a county
Once
island.
we got bigger. Yeah.
Right. She's on County Island, but that's fine. But then there's HOA right across the street,
Right.
and they would all complain. So that was probably our hardest thing, was finding a commercial facility to do classes at.
What made you guys realize that, like, hey, this is more than just like a funny idea? This could be a business. Like, let's get an LLC. Let's like go all in on this.
When you're
think-
making a lot of money.
I think all
It should probably be legal.
I think, yeah, that's basically it. My husband was like, okay, is this going
You
to be
guys
like a
can't
real
just
thing?
keep doing
Like,
this in the yard.
Yeah.
we were like, well, because we were just doing it, and then other people from the news stations were calling, and it was no longer our friends.
Right. We're like, this needs to be legit if we're going to be on USA Today.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Yeah, so that's when we started to like really, get our website and
Yeah.
all that fun stuff.
Insurance was probably the hardest.
Insurance is very difficult to get.
Because it's with
especially-
animals. They consider it like a
Yes.
circus
Right.
art.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Especially because no one heard of goat yoga, and you try to explain it, it's very difficult.
We had to keep making it more simple. No, it's just goats. It's like a petting zoo, but then people are doing yoga too, and they just kind of wrap their head around it.
So insurance, we had definitely had some big hurdles to get over
Well,
as
and
far as that goes.
The city kept sending us notices, and we're like, so that was when we got really worried. We're like, where are we going to do classes at? And we were going around to schools, but they were going to charge us a lot. And then you tell a story about finding the ranch, because this is a cool story. You said a prayer and you fasted.
I
And then she
did.
drove down Val Vista.
It's so, oh my gosh, Holy Father's just laughing at all the prayers I've been giving him about goats. please help us to find a place that we can do goat yoga.
So we
Drove
find
down the road.
down Val Vista, there's a John Vulcan Academy, and it's the coolest facility. It's drug and alcohol rehab for 18 to 35-year-olds, and they stay for 2 years. It's for free, and then these guys get rehabbed. And so we go in there. It's a huge facility with like a rodeo and tons of parking.
Yeah.
And we're like, can we do goat yoga? And they let us do it for free for a couple years. Then
Really?
they wised up and they started charging us. But that was like a miracle right there.
Oh yeah, Johnny was a little stiff, and I remember when I first met him, and I was just like, "Could we do like goat yoga?" He's just this big cowboy,
Yeah, kind of rough around the edges.
very rough around the edges, and he was just like that. He's just like whatever,
But I think after like a year, they saw 100 cars there, and they're like, okay, we're going to start charging these guys.
Yeah.
It's still probably the best rate we can get, though.
Well, it's been very, very good for them. We've actually brought people into their program.
sure,
also.
yeah.
They started doing Google. They got
Yeah.
their business on Google, and then our goat yogis are a little fun. They're a unique group. So almost always when I tell a story about the ranch, somebody knows somebody that could use a rehab program,
Yeah.
and they don't publicize it very well. So
Yeah.
That's kinda
We've actually really helped them, I feel like, as far as getting their name out there.
and then the boys are at the ranch for 2 years, so they don't mind helping with goat yoga.
That was my question.
they
Do
love
the-
it.
Lot of
do the
pretty
participants
yogis.
in the ranch, They help care for the goats.
They
And
do,
build
yeah.
relationships with them.
Yeah, they come and they help a lot, and sometimes they'll have like a little garden, and so they'll like sell things from the garden at our store or at.
Because normally they board
Yeah.
horses there, so
Right.
they take care of the
Equine therapy
horses.
is a big thing with
Yeah.
addiction recovery, and so the goats kind of fill a similar role, or is
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we had Ozzy Osbourne there, so.
Oh, really?
He talked to the
Same
boys
thing.
about rehab, so that was kind of cool. They all
was
like,
pretty fun.
okay, Ozzy Osbourne's here, and he goes, "Stay sober, guys. I've been 20 years sober." He talks really slow.
We had to help
But Kelly
them along
Osbourne
with
was there, and she hadn't been sober very long. She's now, though. She's on like a year, I think.
She said we had the best life ever. And I was like, thanks, Kelly.
And she got us like 800 Instagram followers in a day, so we really
Really?
like Kelly Osbourne.
That's awesome.
So these are celebrities that came to do goat yoga.
Yeah, we got a
Specifically,
bunch of
yes.
celebrities if
Yeah.
you want to hear them all too.
Yeah. Well, let's hear. Who?
Well, we
yeah.
have
Some
JoJo
names.
and Jordan from The Bachelorette. So
Okay.
they were doing a show called Cash Pad, and it was on MSNBC. And so they were renovating Airbnbs, and so they did like an Airstream in Prescott. And then they said, we want to come to Goat Yoga and offer this as part of our Airbnb. So that one was super entertaining because they came and they're like acting like they're a cute couple. And,
Right.
goats are jumping on them and tipping them over. If you put in Goat Yoga on GIFs, ours comes up.
Really?
Like we can't act. It's just only because it was with JoJo and Jordan. We can't actually get our business on the legitimate GIF board, but you can see the JoJo and Jordan one, and we're in it.
Yeah. We've had quite a few, like, Bachelor and Bachelorettes.
A couple football players, I can't remember their names.
Yeah, we need to make a list. We have a banner that we have people sign when they are famous.
But that's what keeps it going. It's not like people come to Goat Yoga every week.
Right.
So we then what's been hurting us right
an
now,
experience.
right, is tourism's down because
Yeah.
nobody's traveling here. And normally this is our peak season. We've been in business for 4.5 years, and we're usually doing 3 or 4 classes a week right now. So I hate Corona.
Yeah. It's been really hard for everybody. And we've had to get creative and things and start doing, like, goat grams. And we did virtual goat yoga
We did
for a little bit.
the alpaca lips meetings.
Zoom meetings,
Zoom
with,
meetings with the alpacas.
with the alpacas, which we are going to be doing one Friday with someone in London.
So that's kind of fun when we get that, you know?
Yeah.
And those weird things get us on the news. So like in June, we were like, hey, Channel 10, we're doing goat grams. And so that actually got picked up by Associated Press, and they used it in all kinds of ways that didn't relate to the actual goat grams.
Virtual field
There was like
trips,
a thing that said, COVID in Arizona, and it had a picture of us doing the goat grams. We're like, well, whatever. No publicity's bad publicity.
Whatever. There's our picture.
So right now what we're trying to do is we have everybody that comes together, because nobody comes by themselves, but they sit together in their little groups of 6, and we have everyone 6 feet apart. So we need a couple more employees to make sure we get the goats around to everyone.
Yeah.
But it's working.
Yeah.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
That kind of leads to a question that I had. So most people's entrepreneurial journey starts off a little bit rocky. You're grinding, you're just scraping, you're just trying to get by financially. Yours sounds like, you didn't have to put in a huge investment. It just kind of blew up, and you're like, what do I do with all this success? We better start a business. We're going to get an LLC. Like, what are we going to do with all this success we've had? However, it would be foolish to think that there aren't challenges with any entrepreneurial journey. You just mentioned one, COVID. What are some of the other challenges over the last 4.5 years that you guys have faced and overcome in your business?
Competitors. People have tried to copy us.
They don't. The people
make it very
try
long.
it. They don't last very long, though.
The thing is unless you have a big class, it's not worth the effort. It's a ton of work. I tell every week my husband's like, why are you so tired? I go, it's seriously like putting on a wedding.
It
To
is.
do one class is only, it's like a 3-hour event.
I mean, we have 150 people in this class.
So then it's
wow.
worth
It's
it.
a wedding. It's a big event.
But to do it and have 10 people seem to get burnt out pretty quick. So our competitors have gone, but they've tried over the years, and people steal our pictures. And so just going through and like the legality of all this is ours, stop doing this. Like we've had to hire lawyers to send letters like cease and desist, and realize people are doing it illegally. So we call them out on that.
Yeah. I mean, we've had issues with that, and just
The website's a lot of work. We get hacked a lot.
Yeah,
Really?
just getting hacked on the web. Just the business side of stuff has been.
But her husband is
hard.
like taking over Google Analytics and all the SEO stuff and all that, so that's good. So we pay Russ $20 an hour. Still goes back
It's
to her.
pretty
But
awesome. Well, and also we've done all of this 100% on our own, like 100% on our own. So like we're doing all our our websites, our SEO, our taxes. So all like learning how to do each and everything. That's always been kind of a challenge. And we've had people want to help us, but I don't know. We've kind of also. I don't feel like
can
other
you help
people-
us if we
I
get
know.
on a TV show? Like, I don't think you can help us more than getting on a TV show could help us,
Right.
Still can't figure out TikTok. We only have like 100 followers on TikTok. So if any 15-year-old out there has some expertise.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
the
could
new
all use
social
that,
media.
right?
Keep up with social media. That's always a hard one. The algorithm.
But it's funny. We were giving out stickers at some classes. We're like, if you like our social media, then we'll give you a sticker. Mm-hmm. And there was very few people that actually were on social media. So I feel like you can get consumed with this social media game of like, these are going to be our clients, but not necessarily. Like, not everyone's on social media, and you really need that grassroots people that are going to pay to come to use your business. Yeah. So I have to step back and be like, it's really not that important, you know?
That's cool.
But that's stressful. Yeah.
Now, you mentioned one of your biggest risks is people trying to copy you. And I assume that it's people all over the world, not just people
They're
in
inspired
Arizona,
by
right?
us. Yes.
They are inspired by us. Yes.
Have you created any partnerships with people? Have people said, hey, can you train us? Can we... Can you franchise, or is that just not something that you're...
We're not really interested in that. One thing that makes us successful versus others who have tried is that it's us. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's like Sarah's hilarious. She's like you can't copy us.
We can feel the energy.
You can't copy our goats. Our goats are like...
Well, and we like had rescue goats come because we thought that would be a nice thing to do, and they were like running into people and stuff, and that would be the liability.
They're horrible. Yeah,
is like to not have nice goats, it could go totally wrong. And we went to the zoo and did goat yoga, and those have to be like the second best goats. They just stood there; they didn't do anything. Like we couldn't bribe them to do anything. So we can't really go and tell somebody else how to do it, except for like, hey, set up the business like this. But it's still not going to be the same thing. It's going to be goats staring at you while you do yoga. You know, that's not what we are. I like to call it more like an event because yoga teachers always come and say, "Oh, I want to teach yoga." I'm like, it's not really about the yoga.
Yeah, it's not that. It definitely is an event. It's not just Sarah like doing this soft yoga. No, she's a comedian.
Because the attention span's like 30 seconds in goat yoga, so you have to be on it all the time.
The goats are like
all the time. The goats are on top
all
of people.
over people, but they're doing it on point, on their own. They know exactly.
So we have
what to do.
It's mostly our kids, but we have our employees on each corner making sure that the goats are on people all the time, and
you just can't copy that.
Yeah, and then like we thought about it because April's going to some business classes. They're like, "What are you going to do next? How are you going to make this bigger?" We really should get better at like YouTube and stuff like that, but it's only us. We get tired.
It's only us.
So you can replicate a business plan, but you can't necessarily replicate the people in the business, and that's really what makes goat yoga as successful as it's been.
Exactly, 100%. Like we are the goat yoga,
right? Yeah. And so in other businesses, you know, Southwest Airlines is a great example. Mm-hmm. So the airline industry, famous for losing money, with the exception of Southwest Airlines.
Right.
And so many airline companies have tried to copy their model and have gone out of business, one after another. And you can't copy a culture.
Right.
And between your personalities, the goats' personalities, the training that your daughter's given those goats, it's just something that cannot be duplicated.
Arizona is a really good market too, because any other state, like it rains twice a year here. So we have the best weather. Even in the summer, we do classes at 7 p.m. It's all shaded. It's really not bad. Yeah. So like we can do classes year round, and we've been watching people in other places. You can't do goat yoga indoors. All goats do is poop. Yeah. Like it needs to be outdoors.
It's a total mess. I don't know why people would even try to do that.
So really Arizona is like the key place to be able to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I probably should have asked this question at the beginning of the interview, but for our listeners who've never heard of you guys, what exactly is goat yoga? How can you explain what someone would expect if they're going to go to a goat yoga class?
So goat yoga is yoga with goats. We've had people come and they come in and they go, "I didn't know there was goats. I just thought it was greatest of all time." I'm like, seriously? Like who bought the tickets on the website?
I'm just kidding.
But it's only $15 a class. So even if you we do this, it's a beautiful field in Gilbert with a view of the Santan Mountains. So even if we didn't have the goats, it's still a really awesome deal. Yeah. But it's yoga with goats, but specially trained goats that interact with you the whole time in costumes.
Yes.
And every class has themes.
We're having a lot of fun this Christmas because we're having the
Santa's coming on Saturday. The alpacas wear Grinch outfits. We're doing a Festivus celebration on the 23rd.
Yeah.
But 80s always goes well. And sometimes if a class isn't filling, I just change the name. It's always the same class. I just change the costumes.
It is pretty funny.
So I'll put Wild West Goat Yoga, and nobody will sign
No
up.
one goes to Wild West goat yoga.
But if I change it to Hawaiian goat yoga,
oh, then we'll have everybody.
Then everyone pops up.
and people will be like, "Hey, when are you doing another Hawaiian class?" I'm like, "We'll
Right.
put Hawaiian costumes on the goats for you."
I know. It is. The themes are really fun because people come in costume also.
Oh,
like
really?
they'll
Yes.
come all decked out in 80s, or they'll come decked out in their Hawaiian gear. Like that, it's a lot of fun.
So 2 years ago, we noticed that llamas were a big trend, but you don't want to pet llama because they're really heavy. And so we're like, we should get alpacas. So we found this guy, and he's like, "Hey, April, can you babysit my alpacas?" And we just started bringing them to class. And then
And they were rotten.
we had to use boards to get them in the
They were
trailer.
so bad.
They were like running all over the place. But then we calmed them down, made them Instagram famous. Everybody came for the alpacas. And then the guy comes back from vacation, and he's like, we're like, "Hey, can we buy the alpacas?" And all of a sudden, these alpacas he was trying to get rid of, he's like, $700.
Yeah.
Fine.
He was giving to us for free.
Initially, they were free alpacas.
And all of a sudden, you
But
want
that
the-
year that
it's
llamas were a
perfect.
big trend, we added the alpacas.
Yeah.
And a video in England went viral. It was alpaca yoga, and it was just alpacas staring at you while you're doing yoga. And that was probably after we had the alpacas for a year. We're like, we're already doing that. So then
already
we
been doing
started
that,
marketing the alpacas a little bit
Oh,
more, and they're
cool.
hilarious. They're only a photo booth. We can't do anything else with them. We tried doing like alpaca walking. They don't participate. They just stand there like a photo booth.
Actually, we're doing pretty good
Yeah,
now.
we're training the baby alpaca, and he'll go around people, and they're really fluffy.
Yeah.
And, this is another side of the business. They get hired for weddings probably once a month, the alpacas. Nobody wants goats for the weddings, but they want the alpacas.
Yeah.
Really?
And
Wait,
they just stand
yeah.
in the wedding
Let
line.
me sell you on it. How do you get grandma and your high school roommate to talk? The alpacas. And the last wedding that she did, everyone was so trendy and
yes.
Everyone looked so good, and the photographer was so good, and they had all the alpacas dressed like the bridal party, like flowers and
Halos
everything.
and flowers
So
and-
the whole cool part of the wedding was the alpacas. Everyone
Yeah.
wanted pictures with them.
Yeah.
That's so
And
funny.
April just stands there with the alpacas, sweeps up the poop.
Yeah. The alpacas are a huge hit. Like, it's...
And
Been
coyotes attack the goats. That's probably one of her biggest things. She's like, got to make sure the goats are safe because coyotes will get the goats, but alpacas will help protect the goats. So she didn't have alpacas till 2 years ago, and coyotes were always a big issue. But now the alpacas are like guard because they're big. They honestly couldn't do anything to a coyote, but the coyotes are scared because they're big.
How many coyote attacks have you had over the years?
Oh, we've had quite a few
sad
bad
ones.
ones.
Really?
Yeah, we've had some really bad ones.
Because
Really
she's just
bad
like out in the
ones.
middle of this. She's got 3 acres, and then they'll just come in. But when they had babies, the coyotes go get the babies. So that's the saddest part.
Yeah, we've had some really sad situations happen, but fortunately, nothing. Knock on wood.
Now that she put the cameras up, nothing happens.
Yeah.
And got the alpacas.
Oh, we've had goats
Marshmallow.
stolen. We've
Yeah,
had
people
Really?
used to steal goats.
Oh yeah.
Really?
People are crazy. I know, right? Right?
How much interaction is there with your clients and the goats and the alpacas? when
Oh,
they're-
100%.
The entire time.
The entire
So
time.
you're
You
like-
can't get away from it.
Yeah.
It's honestly, if I could come up with another business based on an Instagram photo, because that's all it is. Granted, like, it's not an adult petting zoo. I start out every class, I'm like, this isn't an adult petting zoo, you guys, because that would be weird. Way weirder than goat yoga. So they do like a solid 40 minutes of yoga, and it's all fun because people's attention spans are so short, and the goats are jumping on them and everything, and then they stay like another 40 minutes and just take
yeah.
pictures with goats.
People are easily there at least 2 hours.
Really? So they can
come
stay
early.
after and kind of
Yeah.
hang out with the
Well,
goats.
We try to set the classes where the sun sets, so they eventually have to go
yeah.
home.
We eventually pack up. They're like, you can stay all you want, but the goats are going.
But Saturdays are funny because it's like people come and they're ready to be entertained, so they stay a lot longer on Saturdays. On weeknights, people are tired after work and they're like, oh, this is fun, and then they do the hour and they leave. So we kind of like those weeknight ones in the summer.
Do you spend more time cleaning your pool than you spend swimming in it? Then call Flamingo Pools today. Flamingo Pools is your go-to swimming pool maintenance and repair company in the East Valley. Whether it's weekly maintenance, repairs, green to cleans, or one-time cleanings, Flamingo Pools will take care of you. Honest, reliable, and innovative. Just a few of the many good things Flamingo Pools customers have to say about them. Ask them about their mineral treatment, which will keep your chemical levels down, allowing you to have a healthier bathing experience. At Flamingo Pools, they know that your pool was made to be enjoyed, so let them handle the rest. Check them out at azflamingopools.com or give them a call at 480-422-6013. Mention this podcast and you'll get your first month of maintenance completely free. That's azflamingopools.com and 480-422-6013.
Talk to me a little more about goats, because I haven't had a lot of experience with goats, but like with dogs can sense if a human is afraid of them, if a human loves them. Dogs will, raise their hair at certain people and will come and snuggle up with other people. Are goats similar like that, where they can kind of sense the energy of a human and make quicker bonds with certain people than others?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're like dolphins, you know.
I have a joke. I'm like, dogs would love you too much if you're doing yoga. Like, a dog would never leave you alone. A goat likes you just enough. Like, a goat thinks you're a fun obstacle to jump on. Mm-hmm. So this is the saddest thing. We had 21 baby goats in March. That's the most we've ever had.
Really?
People love baby goats. It's like the TikTok trend right now is baby goats. So, and then we got shut down.
Yep. Yeah. So it's like, waste the baby goats.
Waste of baby goats. And so normally we bring the baby goats to class and people are holding them so much that it makes them so much sweeter. Mm-hmm. So we tell everybody in the class, you guys are here to help us train the goats, because April can't hold 21 baby goats all the time.
Yeah.
So when we have baby goats, we do 3 or 4 classes a week. They're getting tons of interaction. So these goats didn't have that. And so when we started back up in June, it was like this whole new training process to get them trained. So normally they're just like good as soon as they're babies, ready to go jump. They just follow their moms. They jump on people after their moms do. But we had to like start from scratch in June.
Yeah, it's actually very hard to train a goat.
Yeah. When they don't have that. Coming to goat yoga all the time.
Yeah. So the goat yoga is just as essential to the goats, because the goats love it just as much, because you are a human obstacle for them. They love jumping, they love playing. If you were to go out into a field of goats and like go to try to walk up to one, it would run to the other direction. So they would not be close to you if they didn't love it or were afraid of it or anything. People have asked, like, do the goats love it? I'm like, or like it? Like, yeah, they would be in a corner, like huddled away from you, you know?
When we first started, so many people are like, you're objectifying the goats. The goats love it. Like, they get food every time they jump on something. Like, that's their favorite thing to do is jump on things.
Yeah.
We have to warn people. We're like, if for some reason you didn't know you were coming to a class with goats, you need to just stand up when the goat jumps on you.
Yeah, if you don't like goats.
There's always a person that, like, didn't know they were coming and their family wants to just surprise them. What the heck? I didn't know goats were going to be here.
Like, it's in the name.
Do different goats have like different personalities?
Oh yeah. Totally. 100%.
There's like 5 that are not allowed to come. They're good goats at the house because they help protect the other goats, but they're not good goats at goat yoga.
Really? For what reasons?
Well, they like headbutt people, and they're a little too fat. Like, they can't jump on people, you know?
Yeah. Well, a lot of our older goats are like our first time yoga goats, and so they love doing it, and they're really big, but they're too big now to jump on.
And they can be like bullies and like, if one goat's up there, they'll push the other goat off.
Goats
they're
are
just
very
kidding
jealous.
around, though, you know.
Goats are very envious creatures. So like they see one, they all want to be like on top of the mountain, the king of the hill. So they'll knock one down to get back up.
We usually bring 20 goats to class, and so we need to have 3 employees that keep them separate. Otherwise, you need to have like 12 goats on one person. So we try to keep people pretty spread out. The logistics have taken us a long time to figure out. And every time that we figure out something new, we're like, okay, that works way better. So people really can, like, their attention spans are really short. Every once in a while, we'll get someone that writes a review. I wish there was more yoga. So I say, if you wish there was more yoga, go ahead and do the yoga, because the rest of the class does it. So there'll be a couple, like, hardcore yogis doing their stuff. I'm like, good job, guys. Just keep going. Yeah. But I used to try and make it a little bit harder, because that's, I've been a yoga teacher forever. Right. It doesn't work.
Yeah. And most people are not there for the yoga.
It's for the,
yeah, it's experience. And also, like, if people were there for the yoga, we'd have a lot less people, because it's fun.
Yoga
like,
can be
everyone
intimidating.
has so much fun. Yeah.
It's not intimidating at goat yoga, because goats don't judge. Goats just love.
I love that. So from a fitness perspective, it's more about the entertainment to come to goat yoga versus just going to a regular.
It's a balance too. It's hard to hold a goat on your back while you're doing.
People always ask, what's the purpose of the goat? I'm like, do a plank and I'll add a 30-pound goat.
Yeah, you can tell me. Yeah.
And a lot of people that come to goat yoga actually start liking yoga. We've had a fair amount of people that like, I was so intimidated to go to a yoga studio, and this made me realize I can do it, because I tell everyone, I'm like, this is a very beginner class. If you guys want to start doing yoga, go sign up for a beginner class. And then it gets like, it's not intimidating. There's people in jeans. You're in a field. There's no mirrors. And so once they try it first, then they feel like they can go out and try other kinds of yoga.
Yeah, and that's why it's for everybody. You know, we have like infants to 98-year-olds. You know,
grandmas will come and they just hold the babies the whole time and they'll do some little stretches.
Yoga.
But nature therapy is a big thing right now because most of our business is tourism. So we're trying to figure out the trends in tourism. But nature therapy, wellness, ecotourism, animals is a huge thing. And so for the tourism aspect, because at first we were looking at the yoga aspect, it's better to go the tourism way, business-wise. Right. So we partnered with Discover Gilbert and Visit Mesa, and then they help promote us, which is awesome. They bring in travel bloggers and stuff.
Oh, really?
So that's helped us a lot, is to have the travel bloggers come in and...
Tourism is a huge part of us. We're one of the top 10 things to do in Arizona.
Really?
Grand Canyon, goat yoga. I don't know what else.
Yeah, I don't
both
know.
right up there.
It doesn't really matter other than
Maybe
Grand
some olive.
Canyon.
And so, did you guys like reach out to these, Discover Gilbert and these places
No,
to be on
The
there?
awesome thing is like, there's really not a lot to do here that's like weird,
Right,
and so people really like it. It's like, and that, I don't know if you've noticed a trend lately, like anything kind of weird, people kind of gravitate towards. So it's been something fun to market. So they say they have a travel blogger coming in town, because I have the paddleboard business too. Like, to write about paddleboards, you can do paddleboards in any city. It's not that interesting, you know? But what can you only do here is these goats with these D-list celebrities, you know? Like, people are like, I love Amazing Race. Can I get a picture? Like, sure, D-list celebrities right here. Maybe C-list.
I don't know. I'll have to look up the ratings.
I know.
That's funny. Do you guys have you ever had any like crazy experiences or super funny story from Goat Yoga that you guys could share?
Yeah, I think every class we have a funny thing.
Every week I'm like, what's going to happen now?
Okay.
That's what, it's just as fun for us to watch everyone.
The worst, best was the fields were all flooded at the ranch, and they didn't tell us. We had a class of 220 people, and we were like, we can handle this, we can do this, but we get there, and there's irrigation at the ranch. And so we ask the ranch people, we're like, we have 220 people coming, what can we do? So they let us use the arena.
Yes.
Okay? But the arena doesn't have a good fence. And so we had to buy a bunch of hay, because
all
otherwise
dirt.
the goats would all
it's
escape.
Like totally different, yeah.
So we had a big bales of hay in the middle. We had everybody on their yoga mats in the dirt. I had the rodeo headset, like it's like I'm an arena guy, because whatever the arena guy would talk in. And that was probably the most memorable class. And I don't know that it went that well.
I don't think it did.
It was like chaos of goats everywhere.
Oh,
and
they
then
were all escaping.
people got so dirty.
Scapegoats everywhere and dust and
We got a million jokes, you guys. We're awesome.
Yeah, so every week there's something crazy that's happening.
really is,
We're
yeah.
like, oh, it's going to happen today. So we have we keep up in the game, so we started cow cuddling. That got us on the news a lot. And we started out with this baby cow. I thought that would be cute to have a baby cow. But that was 300 pounds prancing around a field. It was a bad idea. So we found a dairy cow. She's an old dairy cow, and she's used to people milking her, and she just stands in the middle of the class the whole time. And we call it cow cuddling because hugging farm animals, they have a lower heart rate than humans, so it helps humans to relax to hug a cow. Just, it's all in the sale pitch, you guys.
Yeah.
And so Maisie comes once a month, and there will people that will just come for the cow.
Yeah.
So whenever the cow is there, something weird happens. We have an alpaca that's a little species confused. He might be. We put a rainbow costume on him.
Yeah.
So, so he mounts
Love
the cow.
everyone.
He mounts women. He mounts
He loves
goats.
everyone. Yeah. Yeah.
When we found that rainbow costume, we're like, this
It
is
was
perfect
perfect.
for Kip.
That's so funny.
The goats do love the costumes. They love getting dressed up. And and you talked about personalities. They do. Like, we have a goat that will only be happy if he's dressed up like Batman.
Really?
And he's like,
Yes.
looks at goat yoga like it's stupid and
Like
just
he
sits in the
judges it.
corner.
Yeah.
But that's our selfie goat because he just lays there so everyone will get selfies.
Yeah. He's our oldest, but he's only happy if you wear Batman.
Yep. And we put the mask on his horns.
Yeah. Yeah, it comes out of his shell, seriously. Like, I think this is really therapeutic to them.
Yeah, it's good for the goats.
It really is.
And for the people.
They would be so depressed right now.
I know, they would just be like regular goats.
I know. That's such a sad life.
Sometimes when people first come and we don't want to dress up the goats, because a lot of times we have to dress up all the goats, we're like, guys, part of the experience is dressing goats.
Well, that's
And
usually
people
because they
love
come
it.
like half hour early.
Yeah, they're there. People come really early. So we're like, here, you guys get to dress up the goats. And so that's fun for people. It's all part of the experience. We make people work and call it part of the experience.
Yeah,
Train
yeah.
our goats.
I love it.
Have you experimented with any other goat commodities like goat's milk, goat soap?
Well, that sounds like
cheese?
work.
So a goat farmer makes about $10,000 a year, which is a lot of work. Okay,
Yes,
so
yes.
she has Nigerian pygmy goats, which are very small. So if you can imagine milking those little goats,
It's like milking a cat.
but funny story, we had all these people lined up, terrible, to come into goat yoga. And this lady comes up in jeans, and she's like, I would like to buy some goat milk. And we're like, we don't, they just do yoga. And she like shook her head, looked at everyone, walked away. We're like, you can do yoga with them. But it's a very tedious task to be a goat farmer.
Yeah, yeah. And our alpacas, at one point, we thought that we were going to, teach our kids to knit sweaters or something.
Yeah, that's kind of a process. First, you have to get the alpaca shaved, and then you have to turn it into yarn, and then you have to teach your kids how to knit. So we
you
just have
forgot
all
the
these bags of
washing.
alpaca hair.
Yeah, yeah.
But alpaca sweaters sell for like $300 each, so
Yeah.
it would have been a good idea if we, but
Yeah.
lazy kids.
Lazy.
So this is a whole family business.
Yes.
Our kids
Oh my
love it.
spouses,
so
everyone,
much.
like everybody's
I'm being
involved.
sarcastic.
Yeah.
It is a family business. I mean, it really is only Sarah and I, and we have like one Dan that's been with us forever.
Yeah, Dan comes all the time.
Our
A reliable employee.
Yes, but it really is just us and our family, and
We've
we do
tried
everything.
having volunteers, but they just want to play with goats.
Yeah.
So we get all the time. We have high school kids and people that want to volunteer, and we can't get them to like listen because it's high
It's a
paced,
job.
like it's fast, and that's why our kids don't love it that much. But it's all part of the family business.
Yep. It is a lot of work. Like it really is a lot of work. It's not all just like fun and games, which is why
Right.
a lot of times people are like, "Oh, go!" But I mean, if we're working constantly, if we're not out there actually doing a class, like I worked all day on our website and the SEO, and like we work
Putting up the
all
schedule.
The time.
We try
For
to put it
sure.
on Living Social and TripAdvisor. In order to be featured in other countries, you have to be on Viator. So we're on Viator, but then TripAdvisor and Groupon will pick it up because they need stuff to pick up. So Viator is a great thing to get into because it's global. And then if Groupon wants to feature it, because it's like, I probably shouldn't say that.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, shut up, Sarah.
But if they want to feature it, they take kind of a hit just because it looks like another good program that they
Right.
finish. You know what I mean?
So do you have to pay to get on Viator, or is that just a free
I don't know.
part?
Maybe that's something you should just look into if you're interested. Just kidding.
No, you give them a percentage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean-
I'm kidding.
So, like, I guess I could just tell them because they're going from the business point. So we only charge $15 a ticket. So on Viator, they charge $20. But you can't put your website on Viator because you don't want people to be able to go just buy the ticket for $15.
Right,
So we
okay.
actually make $16 off of Viator. So if people... Like, Viator is a great thing to be like, okay, this is a legit company, but if you can find the actual company, it's probably going to be cheaper.
For
you know?
sure. So, like, getting sales from Viator and TripAdvisor and things like that versus, like, people coming directly to your website.
Oh, it's very, very small.
Yeah.
We don't get very many.
Yeah,
Really?
we hardly get anyone from those other networks, but it's just
maybe $200 a month or something.
Okay.
yeah,
But-
like nothing.
It gets other countries to feature us. So when you're in Amazing Race, we were in Spain. I picked up a
Oh,
fashion
this was
magazine
cool.
in Spain,
Yeah.
and we were in it.
Yeah.
Really?
So randomly at the airport,
like, we're in this
picked up
magazine.
a magazine and was flipping through it, and we were totally in it.
What?
Sarah and I, our picture, like everything.
We had a Japanese magazine do an article on us, and we couldn't translate it, so we had some missionary that went to Japan. He's like, it says goat massage, because goat yoga didn't translate well, so the whole article's about goat massage.
But it has been really fun to just see random.
We'll Google stuff and just see where it's at, you know?
For sure. Is that just a funny feeling to see, like, randomly see yourself in a magazine somewhere
Well, I
halfway
think the
across
first
the world?
2 years, our friends got really annoyed with us because we're like, look, we're
look,
famous
check out
again.
this,
Yeah.
check out this.
And now we just try not to tell people. Everyone,
No.
all of our friends know we do goat yoga. Still, lots of them have never been.
I
But
think most of our friends have not.
until
been
Ozzy
together.
Osbourne came, all of a sudden we had all these best friends.
Yeah, yeah.
But now we just tried to downplay it. We're like, hey, we were on Nickelodeon if you guys want to watch it, you know? But we were so
Right.
excited in the beginning. We're like, look, we're in Spain
We're in
in this
this,
magazine.
Yeah,
We're in
yeah.
this, but
No, nobody cares.
and that's the thing is like you can't rely on like your friends and your family.
That's
Not
my
even my
number
family
one.
has. Your husband has never been.
I know, my husband's never been.
Really?
What's his name?
Eric.
We gotta call you out, Eric. You gotta go to goat yoga.
I know.
Okay.
So our Dan that helps us, he's like, Dan's my best friend because I don't have to go to goat yoga.
Yeah. Dan's the best. But you can't rely on like your friends or your family necessarily to support your business.
Carry the business.
This is what I've
You really
learned because
can't.
I've tried tons of entrepreneur things over the years, and I watch my friends start businesses, and the very first thing they do is ask their friends. Friends want stuff for free, so like that is the worst thing because your friends just want to come for free, and then you're like, you didn't refer anybody, you didn't pay me, and then it's crushing. So when we got over that like our friends are not our business, that helped. I mean, there's 3 million people in Phoenix. I can place a Facebook ad and fill up a class. So we maybe do like, there's still so many people that haven't heard goat yoga.
Yeah.
I maybe spend like $80 a month on Facebook ads, and people will comment, oh my gosh, I didn't know this existed. I'm like, we've been around for 4 years.
Yeah, over 4
So
years.
that's our thing, is we need constantly get new people, but we actually do have a lot of return clients because they want to bring their friends. It's nobody just comes by themselves and sits at goat yoga,
No.
but it's a good way to kill 3 hours on a Saturday. And everybody's really sad right now. Like this last 3 months, people are like, this is what I needed. This was so awesome.
Yeah.
And everybody that's coming to goat yoga isn't like high maintenance.
It's been
right now. They're all pretty cool.
Yeah, it's been actually very rewarding. Like we've had a lot of really neat experiences with people where it's actually like
They
for
start
real
crying.
benefited. Yeah,
Like,
like,
I love goats
like
so
more
much.
than just like, a fun thing. Like,
Right.
like it's really like the Wienermobile.
Yeah, we had the Wienermobile come.
So we had the Wienermobile come, like totally fun, totally funny. We get this like, I don't know, page text message just saying like, talking about this gal who she lost her mom and her dad was very ill in the hospital, or he's gonna pass any day now, and they used to always go out to see the Wienermobile in Wisconsin.
She was like praying for a sign, and I
From her
placed a
mom.
$10 ad that the Wienermobile was going to be at class,
Yeah.
and she's like, you guys. So the Wienermobile people have like run with that. They're like,
Yeah.
we changed lives.
Yeah, I know. but it sounds so corny, but it like for her, I mean, she had said that she had been praying to her mom for a sign that she would see the Wienermobile or some sign that which she would know that she would be welcoming Dad soon. Which sounds so bizarre.
Right.
But you never know what people are going through or what means something to someone. And we've had people with like the gal with cut marks all over
So she
her.
came, and she
I
was a
know.
teenage girl. She had cut marks all on her arms, and she's just sitting back in the corner, and I had a baby goat, and I just put the baby goat in her arms, and I walked away. And her mom comes up to me crying, and she goes, she has not done anything in a year. I forced her to come to this class. This is the first time I've seen her smiling. Like, a lot of people don't like people, but they like goats.
Yeah. It's
So,
just,
like, something like that. Like, you try everything to touch someone, and for some reason a baby goat does, you know?
Yeah.
how can it not? But it's we get a lot of really like
It seems so
nice
silly, but
emails,
it's like
fun
stuff. We did a lot of corporate events last year, too. That was
Yes.
so good.
corporate events were really good.
We, like, charged so much
They pay
money.
more.
Oh,
Yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah, we were gonna do ASU.
Really?
We're gonna do a largest goat yoga class.
So we have the Guinness
Another-
World Record for the largest goat yoga
Tell
class.
us about that, yeah.
385 people, 82 goats. We had to
Yeah.
rent some petting zoo goats.
It was a lot.
And so we did it at Mesa Amphitheater, and that got
Wow.
a ton of publicity. And so ASU was like, hey, we want you guys to do the next world record here. And so our goal was 500 people. You have to do a 5-to-1 ratio. So that would have been like 100 goats.
Yeah.
Which we have to go rent a lot of goats because April doesn't have that many goats.
I did a lot of research.
That was a lot of
logistics.
logistics. But they were going to let us do it on the football field. We had it
Yeah.
all planned for
They
September.
still will. They
Yeah,
still will next year, maybe.
But that was
maybe.
like the coolest thing. We're like, we're going to do goat yoga on the football field. They were a little
Yeah.
worried about the grass, but
Yeah.
But so, like,
know, as a
Maybe,
football guy.
maybe after football season.
Yeah, we were still cleared though.
we had
Was
2
there-
Guinness World Records.
Yeah.
Is there any way to be a part of one of those 500 people? So
Oh, yeah.
Totally. We just sell the tickets for $15.
Oh,
It
right.
covers all. We have a ton of expenses because we have
Right,
videographers and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
But normally Guinness charges $10,000 for you to go do a record.
Really?
Or you can do it on your own. So April had to figure out how to get approved for
It's
it.
a lot of work.
You submit a bunch of paperwork. You have to have a vet approve all of the goats. And then you have timers and witnesses. So in order to not pay the $10,000, you have to have a lot of people documenting that it happened.
Yeah.
So that worked out good. And then we did the longest human chain that a goat ran across. We made that up. But we got in there.
Page 77, 2019.
That's so
Guinness
funny.
book.
And you just came up with that?
We just have all these like bucket list things that we
Yeah.
wanted to do as kids. And we're like, well, let's try it.
Actually, Guinness contacted us
There you go.
for that
goats.
one.
For the largest one.
For the longest human
longest
chain for Yeah, so a lot of these...
So that kind of helps Guinness, too. Like,
Yeah.
what's this weird, quirky thing that's going to be in here?
Exactly.
Right. So that's why we got to keep, like, up in the game with more weird stuff.
And does that help you guys much with publicity, just getting...
Oh, most definitely.
We decided, like, we got to keep doing more things, though, because it'll die down. So we just did this survivalist TV show. And that's been our thing for right now, which is good because everything's, like, so slow.
Yeah.
And so tons of people are messaging us about that survivalist show.
That's really fun.
Talk about the pressure of always having to recreate and be inspired and come up with new ideas.
Like,
most successful businesses set up a system and it, you get it and it just kind of, you have a model that you follow. And it's a lot of pressure to always have to come up with new ideas and creative ways to be at the top of the media's publicity.
So you've interviewed a lot of entrepreneurs, but they're a little ADD. So like... I'll just be like, April, let's have a cow. She's like, okay. So then we have a cow and we see if it works. There's not a lot of planning. It's like, today, let's try this. Like we bring a hedgehog sometimes. People still email us about the hedgehog. It's just my daughter's hedgehog. It's so, I don't think that I get overly stressed. I spend time, like I took a couple improv classes because I wanted to like learn how to entertain people. And then I use the same jokes and stories most of the classes and kind of figure out what works. But I was just listening to Jerry Seinfeld, and it was about having the audience attention. I'm like, oh, that's what I do in goat yoga. So I think that's just we figured that over the years to get it, because if I'm just teaching yoga, no one's listening to me and it's chaos. So I go around like snapping at people and I'm like, telling them jokes and constantly having them. So it's a bit like when I was listening to Jerry Seinfeld's book, I'm like, I got to use comedian principles in it. So that part I think I'm just learning as I go though,
You're an entertainer. It's beautiful.
And we tell everyone it's $15, so you can't really complain.
Can't complain. I mean, what else do you get for $15?
There's a movie for $15.
But it is a lot of, like, that's why we cannot duplicate ourselves, is because we're always trying to stay on top of ourselves, and that's why other people who copy us do fail, because they're always trying to, like, copy us and be like, oh, now we got to get an alpaca.
And I get bored and I just keep getting more stuff.
Like you can't just, duplicate us.
Like training the alpaca was just on a whim, and we're like, let's just see if the alpaca will go through people's legs and he's a weird, quirky alpaca. Like he's got issues, and so he does certain things, and like no other alpaca would do that. But that's people's favorite part now is this. Its mom died at birth, so April had to bottle feed it. And so it would nurse on the other alpaca, who's a boy.
Yeah.
So that alpaca doesn't like him. But he's just a funny alpaca. And so that's like the star of the class now. The goats are cute, but everybody wants Kip to come and walk by him.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah,
and
but
he's so fluffy, so you pat him and then...
Yeah. Until April comes, then they are the month of April, and they get shaved.
Yeah, we get the alpaca shaved.
And they look
Gotcha.
like cute tits.
Look like goats.
Has there been one particular piece of exposure that's like helped you guys more than anything else, or do you feel like it's just like a little bit of this, a little bit of that here and there that's just continued to help you guys grow?
It's a little bit of
Well,
everything.
Corey McCluskey really likes us.
Yes,
and so
we love
that
Corey.
helps a lot. And then we joked about it, but we got on Weather Channel, and I'm like, that's big. Like, people that don't watch regular TV watch Weather Channel.
Yeah.
Because in all honesty,
like
people don't really watch TV. So what we do with the clips is, and that's what they tell us, like, even Amazing Race. They're like, you guys have to do something with this, because there's, and like, Amazing Race got an Emmy the season we were on, but they hadn't had very much publicity for 10 years because they had a 10 o'clock time slot. And so they like, you need to take whatever publicity you get and then use that. And so anytime we're on it, because nobody's watching news at 9 a.m, but if we can take that clip with Corey and then publicize it a bunch, then that helps. So it's kind of, we learned that we have to utilize it because, I mean, every once in a while people will be like, oh, I saw you on the news, But it's how we utilize whatever we're on. And we'll just reuse stuff from 4 years ago right now.
Yeah, but it's definitely a little bit of everything, like you said. Like, there wasn't one thing and that we could just ride on that.
That's what we realize
like,
is we have to keep. And that's
You
probably the
have
most
to
work
keep
is that we
going.
have to keep, like,
What's
we try
new?
and get
What's
more
new?
people.
What's new? What's new?
Yeah.
New thing, new this. Yeah.
But then you guys just kind of have the personalities where, like you said, it's not stressful to be like, what are we going to do? What are you going to next? It's like, it's just natural to keep coming
Sarah's
up with new
mind's
ideas.
always like
Just
going
always
1,000
going.
miles an hour, so it's just trying to keep up with that. So it works for us.
Well, I'm doing this tourism trip to Iceland, and I found this guy that is an Icelandic.
You want to go to Iceland again?
I know.
Sarah?
But listen, you're going to love
We
this.
spent like
Amazing Race, we were in Iceland.
the entire, we traveled the entire island of Iceland.
But there's this guy that's got all these sheep, and takes you to the farm to see the sheep. And I'm like, can we do Icelandic sheep yoga? And he goes, sure. So I'm like, I can take this, So it's just like a funny joke, but it's going to look so fun on a tourism thing to be like, we'll do Icelandic sheep yoga with the goat yoga lady.
That's really cool. So I have one more big question before we close up here. I can't believe we're already coming up on the hour. But
sorry, we've talked.
No, we love it. We love it. A lot of people, their advice is, don't reinvent the wheel. Like you can just start a landscaping company and just try to do something different, or make sure your customer service is really good. And for something like that, there's always, I guess, like a handbook where there's someone you could go to who's done it in the past, someone with experience, and kind of like a playbook, I guess, of what to do. But there's also new ideas, things like goat yoga that no one's ever done before. You guys didn't have anyone to go to or anything to look up online on how to start a goat yoga business. So what would your advice be for someone who does have a new idea and wants to get started on something but doesn't have like YouTube or somewhere to go to look for advice?
I tell everyone, like, it's just plan on failing. Yeah. Like, if you can just every day, and that's the biggest thing. I talk to so many people, I want to start my own business, but I'm like, so what? Like, go ahead and do it. Don't rely on your friends for business. That's my number one thing, because then people get their feelings really hurt. Yeah. But just do it. And if it fails, okay, whatever. And I think people, they always joke with me. They're like, you just don't care, do you? I'm like, no.
Just don't care.
I don't think goat yoga would have made it if we cared, because we got made fun of a lot.
We got made fun of, and you know who made fun of us the most is our friends and family.
Yeah, they're like, this is so stupid.
And not even
you guys are doing this
in a joking way, like flat out, like that is dumb and
like,
mean. They were mean. Let's be honest. They were
they're
really
like
mean.
Sitting there. I can't believe you guys do yoga with goats. That's so stupid.
That's so
and then
stupid.
we would let them go for a while, and we're like, you want to hear how much money we made this year?
But we couldn't say that till a little later.
Yeah.
Because in the beginning, they would just, and we're like, well, then don't come then.
We don't care if you come.
Like making you come.
So you can't get your feelings hurt, and like, and
No.
find your people. And I don't know who our people are, but our people are kind of, we've had like 4 people come with goat tattoos.
Yes.
We've had, we have lots of people want goat weddings.
Yes.
It's very diverse. I think we have a big, we've watched other goat yogas, and they kind of have a weird kind of clientele that comes. I feel like our population's just like your kind of Instagram population. We just had, we had a football team, Hamilton?
And something like that.
Yeah, Hamilton. Yeah. Hamilton, the entire football team came and did yoga.
Really?
Not during Corona, another time.
Yeah. And so when you plan on failing, it just kind of relieves that stress from like, oh, is this going to do good? Is it not? And you just,
That's got to be the biggest thing, because everybody's like, what if?
Yeah. And I think also what helped us is we didn't have like these high expectations.
Right.
Zero expectations.
We had 0 expectations, and it wasn't like, okay, let's get this. It wasn't business first. It was an idea first.
Passion.
It was a passion first. And we're having a blast. And as much as our friends were making fun of us, we actually saw how much it meant to other people.
Yeah.
And how much fun everyone else was having.
And I think the beginning of year 3, we started getting the corporate events, and then we started making a lot more like lofty financial goals. Like we should try and bring in this much money this year, and we should try and get these accounts, you know what I mean? So that helped us a lot to start getting the corporate events.
Yeah. But that didn't come like right away. It wasn't just, we had this grand idea of making this amazing business, you know.
One of the coolest ones was Ralph Lauren, and they had bandanas, and they put polo on them. They wanted all the goats. They could only wear bandanas that had polo, and then everybody was dressed up in all Ralph Lauren. It was at the Ritz-Carlton.
Really?
And then we had some family. They just said it was like the Kardashians. They wouldn't tell us who it was, but it was at the Four Seasons.
They rented the entire
hotel. And then goat yoga's in the middle, and we had 100 people there.
Resort, not even hotel.
Yeah, we had to have probably like 12 people help us with that.
No way.
And that's,
we had to like have bodyguard people watching us and stuff, watching our every move. Like, so like,
and we
never know the people you
tackling goats that are a little too rough.
And we had no idea what we were getting into. We were like, okay. And we put out a price, and they paid it. We're like, oh my gosh.
And I think what else? I think just staying calm, because even we don't get all like, I don't want to say we don't get starstruck, because we do appreciate it.
Because we do know it's about the goats. It's
not
really us.
But I mean, we don't like freak out at Ozzy Osbourne's coming.
Right,
like, it's just, I mean, we acted just like any normal class.
Yeah.
Or like,
on the Ozzy Osbourne
we don't
thing,
get too stressed out about
A&E was emailing us for like 3 months. They're like, we have this father-son duo that wants to come to goat yoga.
Very heartwarming.
And we're just like, okay, thanks. So nice. Didn't tell us anything about Ozzy Osbourne.
No.
Oh, really?
And then it was like a week before, and they go, by the way, it's Ozzy Osbourne and his son Jack. And then they send us all this non-disclosure paperwork. We had to do so much paperwork and make sure that everything was set up just right for him. But we had like, we're just like A&E, whatever. We have no idea,
Heartwarming story.
And then we only had a week before to be like, oh, it's Ozzy Osbourne. And the funny, they walk in the gate. We're super nervous. There's all these camera guys. They leave the gate open. All the goats run out. I'm like, okay, we're going to start over.
That's you just have to laugh at yourself too. Just especially don't rely on other people. Just be confident and laugh at yourself. And
yeah,
it was so fun. It was funny.
Yeah, there was a lot of haters, like trolls on social media in the beginning too. Yeah, they're not anymore.
They're gone now, right?
Yeah, they're pretty gone.
Whatever, we're shocked. That's my joke in class. I'm like, I'm still surprised we're here every week, guys. So thanks for coming.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, we're not like planning our retirement over this or anything. We're just taking it as it's going. Appreciate every moment.
I think it's going to keep lasting. It's been a while.
Yeah, and if there happens to be a hater comment, we're like, thanks for the comment, and thanks for tagging all your other friends that you
more exposure, right?
That's just more exposure. There's no real such thing as bad publicity.
Yep.
Like, okay.
It really isn't with goat yoga.
I know.
Because people will just go back to baby goats. We can't brag about ourselves very much, for sure, we notice, because it's better to make fun of ourselves, because people don't want to hear you, like, brag about yourself. Sorry if we brag too much. But it's better to, like, make fun of yourself and then people laugh at you. Mm-hmm. It's way better if they laugh at you.
We just have fun. Yeah. We're, the things we do really aren't for ourselves. It's for building our business. Mm-hmm. So...
It sounds like you guys love what you do, though, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's fun. I don't think we could do more than 5 classes a week. When we were super busy, I think there was a week that we had 8 or 9, and it was exhausting.
And the two of you run every class?
Yeah. We've had we have one yoga teacher. She's really good yoga teacher, and everyone loves her. But it's just she can't control the crowd as much. Yeah. She's like, Sarah, they're not. I don't have all your jokes, and they're not listening to me. So, like, if one of us is out of town, we just don't have the class.
Yeah, because it doesn't work without the other.
Now that we know it's going to keep going, we are better at taking vacations. It's hard because it's every Saturday. Like weekday classes don't fill as much, and that's when our husbands are off on Saturdays. So it's like. Can't go on vacation as much and all that,
Yeah.
We don't do very much in August, and then we really just need to work hard throughout the spring because that's the busiest time. Yeah. So it's a bit seasonal.
Yeah.
I know you guys are kind of just going with the flow. You mentioned that you're not interested in franchising, but is there any sort of plan for the future moving forward?
Just keep getting bigger ourselves.
Right. If we can make it through, I think we're going to make it through all this as long as we don't get shut down again because everything's pretty socially distanced. But we really want to work on getting back into corporate events. I feel like that won't be till like 2022 because I guess everyone's just giving out bonuses now. The weddings are good. And our kids drive, so we can send our kids with the trailer and they can stand at a wedding with the alpacas. So we just need to get where we're not having to do as much of the work. And then... So if we just keep the yoga classes, we have kids do... Because the alpacas just stand there at a wedding. We can have other people do that.
Yeah.
So that's probably what we'll work on more is growing that part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything that we missed? Anything you guys wanted to bring up that we haven't asked about yet before we close up here?
Okay, so everyone asked about the goat poop. So
it's
like the number one question. So the goats, do you poop during yoga? No. So the goats just go in the field. You don't even know. It blends right in. But if they happen to poop on your mat, we'll give you a new mat. April actually puts on Craigslist world famous goat fertilizer, and people come to her house and they shovel out all the goat poop because the goats are vegan. Because they eat grass, And so it's really good for gardens. And actually goat poop doesn't stink.
Yeah.
She did have sheep for a while and they stunk too bad.
Yeah.
And then everyone asks, I don't do yoga. That's okay. You don't have to be, like, people get really intimidated that they don't do yoga. In adult pettings, it would be weird. So we're going to say we're going to do some yoga too, but it's very basic yoga. And some people just like, if I tell you to go on their hands and knees, they'll go on their hands and knees and then they won't do anything else. If I tell you to do like some poses on your stomach, they just lay on their stomach. So it's okay. So I feel like it really is good for anyone. Yeah. Little kids come, grandmas come. It's a really good family event.
Yeah. Family, bachelorette parties, birthday parties, like just anyone.
Yeah. I think people were most nervous about the yoga when we started.
Yeah.
No need to worry.
So you don't need to be good at yoga. The poop doesn't smell. There's no excuse not to come, right?
No excuse.
Only $15.
Right.
Come on, guys.
And we tried raising it to 20 because that's like what every business professional says to do if you're doing really well. But people didn't buy as much shirts.
Yeah.
So we actually, we have some merchandise. We have a Goat Yoga on the Go little kit, and we have stickers, and we have the shirts. But people didn't buy as much stuff when we raised it to 20. And so we like to keep it right at 15, and it seems to be like the sweet spot.
And they bring more people, and they bring their families. And, I mean, where are you going to get this kind of experience for $15? I mean, you can't even go to the zoo, or you can't go anywhere and get
right.
this
The other people that have
experience.
tried to do it are charging $30 to $45.
Yeah.
And like, you're not going to come back at that price. But we have people come back with their family. They're like, 15
Yeah,
bucks,
and 15 seems like cheap enough where you can do
Exactly.
it again.
Yeah.
We haven't.
People still ask for deals, but
Yeah.
We haven't raised our price at all. Like, we just have always kept it the same rate pretty much, just because we want it to be affordable to everyone.
Yeah. Cool.
It's an amazing story you guys have. Love it.
Well, we're not going to let you go yet. Before
Okay.
we close up, we have a little game we're going to play.
Oh.
And so how it's going to work is we've got a list of 20 questions. And we got a minute on the clock, and you have to answer as many as you can. So these are just questions about, like, things you like, your opinions on things. So nothing you needed to study for. But yeah, we'll just ask every other, and you guys can just switch off alternating answering the questions.
Okay.
And
You go first.
we'll see how many you guys can get.
You
You
go
going
first.
first, April?
I guess I am, so make it
Fast
easy.
two, asking.
All right. So we will
Just
start.
like Ninja Warrior.
Yeah, don't think.
not going to get hurt.
3,
kidding.
2, 1.
Dream vacation.
Swimming.
First thing you'd buy if you won $1 million.
House.
Favorite hobby.
Goats.
If there was an Olympic competition for everyday activities, what activity would you have a good chance at winning a medal in?
Paddleboard.
A song you've been jamming to lately.
Chicago.
If you lived to be 100, would you rather have the mind or the body of your prime self?
Mind.
Favorite holiday.
Christmas.
Favorite ice cream flavor?
Salted caramel.
Favorite fictional character.
Pinocchio.
Favorite smell?
Fresh cut grass.
What's your nickname?
Goat whisperer.
Pet peeve?
Too many people.
Favorite restaurant.
Oregano's.
Ooh, yes.
If you could switch places with someone for a day, who would it be?
Me.
Someone living on an island. Right now, especially.
And there's our time.
Man, I'm very bad at this game.
No, 14. That's not bad.
That's awesome.
Really?
Yeah. The people have done worse. We'll just say that.
Okay, yeah, well, that's okay. People have done worse. That's basically how we win things.
For the Olympic activity, I thought you were gonna say goat yoga.
was
So
expecting
so you're more of a paddleboarder then. That's where your talent lies.
Well, it's as soon as you turn something into a job, it becomes a job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I think I was the cookie one, the lady.
Yeah.
She didn't want to turn it into a business, like where she lost her passion for
Yeah.
baking. I love goat yoga, but I don't want goats anymore.
Right.
Like I was obsessed with goats. I wanted goats so bad. I thought April was the coolest person in the world. 'Cause she
I
had
am.
baby goats. No interest in having goats anymore.
But I still am the coolest person in
Right.
the world.
But when there's baby goats, I just love them and they're so cute. But it's way better to visit them.
You're like the grandma now.
Yep.
Like, love them, give them back.
Give it back.
That's funny. Oh, well, thank you guys again so much for coming on. It's definitely been an eventful hour here. And
It's been amazing.
I wish we had more time, but we've learned more about ghosts than I ever thought I would.
Right?
So I appreciate it. Why don't you let our audience know where they can find you guys if they want to look you guys up on social media or come in for some goat yoga?
Like every single social media we have.
Yes.
Pinterest, TikTok, Snapchat. The teenager ones we're not very good at. Instagram, Instagram and Facebook are our main ones.
Yeah.
And then
And the Instagram and Facebook are AZ Goat Yoga.
Easy goat yoga.
Twitter's just Goat Yoga. Twitter and all the other ones we're not
and
good
we
at.
got
It's
the
just Goat Yoga.
domain of goatyoga.com.
We have goatyoga.com.
Nice.
So
That's
that's
a
where
big
you find our
accomplishment.
classes there. $15. Sign up.
Or just Google goats in Arizona. We're the only ones that come up.
Pretty much. Just Google
That's
Goat
actually
Yoga.
helped a
you'll
lot.
find us.
People are like, how do you guys get so high on the search engines? Like, the only goat yoga
the only
helps.
ones.
Like a realtor's going to have a lot harder time than
Right.
goat yoga.
Awesome. Okay, well, thanks again.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
you guys.
Thank
We'll
you.
catch you next week.
All right.
Hey guys, thanks so much for listening. Just a few things before we go. First off, if you or someone you know is an entrepreneur in the East Valley, we'd love to have you on the show. Please get in touch with us by emailing us at localhustlerspodcast@gmail.com or DM us on Instagram at localhustlerspodcast. You can also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn for the latest news and updates. Also, if you enjoyed the show, please take a few seconds to rate and review and hit that subscribe button. It lets us know how we're doing and helps us grow so we can reach more locals, entrepreneurs, and help small businesses grow. Thanks, guys.